call environmental planning meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd, and may we all stand and someone lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Right hand across to your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We all may be seated. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Sherman,
Yes.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wright Sure,
Here.
Chair Henderson,
Present.
and Commissioner Langley is absent tonight.
Thank you. Item number 4, approval of minutes from the October 1st meeting. We have a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for October 1st, 2024.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Wright Sure,
Yes.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman,
Yes.
and Chair Henderson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item number 5, oral communication.
This is a time where the public may address the Planning Commission on items that are not on the agenda, but within the Planning Commission's jurisdiction. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Does anyone wish to speak to the commission regarding items that are not on the agenda tonight? Okay. For the records, there are no public speakers.
Thank you. Item number 6, conditional use permit 6-24, site plan review 2-94, and modification number 4, request of a conditional use permit per section 1846-030 C23 regarding municipal to allow the continuance of existing automobile service station and modification to the original site plan, the model gasoline dispensary canopy, in addition, with an addition of 3 additional pumps.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. This is Diana Nava, Planning Assistant, and I will be providing a presentation on the agenda item number 6A regarding conditional use permit number 6-24 to allow for the construction of an existing automobile service station and modification to an original site plan review for the remodel of the gasoline pump to an existing ARCO. The project site is located at 1001 West Artesia Boulevard at the northeast corner of West Artesia Boulevard and Vermont Avenue. The subject property is zoned General Commercial C3, as seen in the zoning map. The entire site includes the Gardena Willow Wetlands Preserve to the north, heavy vegetation with the Los Angeles County flood control to the east across Vermont Avenue, Gardena Carson Family YMCA to the south across the West Artesia Boulevard, and to the west an existing shopping center including Sam's Club to the west. The project area consists of an existing gasoline station and a 2,796 square feet AM/PM mini market. The subject gasoline station has been in operation since 1997. The project area is part of a shopping center located on a 8.36 acre lot. The applicant is proposing to remove and replace an existing gasoline dispensary canopy. in a different configuration that will include 3 additional gasoline pumps, accommodating a total of 18 vehicles, currently serving 12 vehicles. The applicant requests to make minor changes to the layout of the existing parking lot, which include the removal of 1 parking space to accommodate the necessary turning radius around the pump station, and adding 3 parking spaces near the West Artesia Boulevard. The applicant proposes does not include any alterations to the existing gasoline tanks or the addition of the tanks. The applicant is not proposing any modification to the existing mini market. The gasoline and mini market operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. As previously mentioned, to the pursuant of the Gardena Municipal Code, all existing automobile service stations shall obtain a conditional use permit. At such time, a request to expand or remodel the existing detached gasoline dispensary canopy that will add 3 gasoline pumps and a modification to the site plan review number 2-94. Therefore, staff review the project in accordance, and the project meets all minimum standards for a service station, including setbacks, requirements for structures and gasoline pumps, parking, and trash enclosures. The project is consistent with the zoning code and aligns with multiple goals and policies of the Gardena General Plan. The project is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Guidelines pursuant to Section 15303, new construction of small structure projects. The project is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Quality Act Guidelines pursuant to Section 15332, infill development project. The project is not subject to any of the exemptions under CEQA. Public hearing notices were duly advertised in the Gardena Valley News and mailed to the owners and occupants within 300 feet of the project site on November 21st, 2024. To date, no letter regarding the project has been received. At this time, staff recommends that the Planning Commission opens a public hearing, receive testimony from the public, and approve resolution number PC 1724. Staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. Now, this project,
Has been brought back in 2020.
and they were going to do an upgrade to the tanks.
Correct. And
No,
they're
sir, there was no proposal at that time either to do any modifications to the underground tanks.
Okay.
no.
It's just the canopy.
It was a canopy then? Okay.
Their conditional use permit was expired, and they're reapplying again, bringing
Okay.
it back to.
I knew
Planning
it
Commission.
sounded familiar. I just
There you go.
couldn't. Any other questions? No question. Okay, we'll open up public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this item?
Chair, we did not receive any speaker cards requesting for this item. There's one.
My name is Ahmad Gaderi with ANS Engineering. Just here to answer any questions. I'm the architect of the project, just in case you have any questions.
Any questions to the architect? None?
Thank you,
Well,
sir.
I do have one.
Sure.
So about on that corner and it being the busy corner, anticipates how long will the project be closed for?
This probably will take about 3 months.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Awesome. Any other questions? Thank you. Well, at this time, we'll close the public hearing. We have a motion?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number PC 17-24, approving conditional use permit number 6-24, subject to the attached conditions of approval, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Reitscher,
Yes.
Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sherman.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
right, moving on to item 6B.
At this time, I would have to recuse myself because I live within 500 feet of the project.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item 6B, Environmental Impact Report, General Plan Assessment, Amendment, 3-21, Zone Change 4-21, Zone Text Amendment 6-21, Specific Site Plan 1-21, Site Plan Review 11-21, Vesting Tentative Map 4-21, and Development Agreement 2-21, Affordable Housing.
Yes. Yes, good evening, Chair Henderson and members of the Planning Commission. This is Amanda Cunha. I'll be presenting on this item under agenda item number 6B. I'll be covering an overview of the applicant's proposed project and the entitlements as listed that are being sought from the city. During my presentation, I will also invite the city's environmental consultant, Kimley Horn, to provide an overview of the environmental impact report findings. And additionally, the applicants for the proposed project have requested to make their own presentation and highlighting the revised proposal and their public engagement efforts. So during this time, during our presentation as staff, we will now outline what is being requested by the Planning Commission tonight. First, for some overview of the project before, an original application for the project was submitted back in December of 2021. The request was presented to the Planning Commission on March 19, 2024, for a mixed residential development totaling 403 residential units, which included 20 units for lower income households. At the close of the March 19, 2024 meeting, the Planning Commission moved to adopt resolution number PC 4-24, recommending to the City Council on certifying the EIR that was prepared for the project, which passed. A motion was made to approve resolution number PC 5-24, recommending approval of the general plan amendment, but did fail. And lastly, the Planning Commission at the March 19th meeting passed resolution number 6-24, recommending denial of the proposed entitlements, remaining proposed entitlements of the project. However, on April 2nd of this year, the applicant before the Planning Commission formally withdrew the original proposal for the 403 unit development. And on September 30th, submitted a revised plans for a reduced project density. These revised plans is the focus of tonight's presentation. However, before reviewing the proposed changes, I do want to provide some context to the Commission and those in attendance. So therefore, the project site, as proposed, is located along 4 parcels that consist of a total of 5.25 acres. It's bounded by West 169th Street to the north, 170th Street to the south, Normandy Avenue to the east, and a public alley to the west. Currently, the site consists of 6 industrial buildings, one of which is dilapidated and unoperable. 2 of the buildings are leased currently and operational. Surrounding uses include a 63 single-room occupancy unit development to the north across 169, the Union Pacific Railroad track directly to the east, and single-family and low-density multifamily residentials to the south and to the west. The project site is primarily zoned as industrial, general industrial, M2, with the northern portion designated M1 with a housing overlay, HO4, that permits for up to 30 dwelling units per the acre. The table before you here shows the key revisions to the applicant's revised proposed project. This includes a reduction in the number of apartment units by 70. Before, the proposal was for 328 apartment units, again including 20 for lower income. The revised project now includes 258 apartment units and 7 moderate income level. In addition, the proposed apartment building is proposed to be lowered by 2 levels with a decrease in the height from 90 to 70 feet. Applicants are also proposing an increase in parking ratio for the apartment units and an addition of 29 guest parking spaces. And as lastly, the townhome portion of the project is proposed to add an additional 9 guest stalls. Another significant change in the proposed project is the realignment of the driveway access off of 170th Street. Again, this access is for the townhome developments, and it has been realigned to align now with Brighton Avenue across West 170th Street. The proposed project still calls for the development of the site to be subdivided into 2 sub-areas. The first sub-area being sub-area A, which will include a 6-story apartment building now with 1 subterranean parking level. Previously, the project called for 7 stories above grade. The project proposed now is at 5 levels. It continues to feature studio 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units and residential amenities such as roof deck, swimming pool, dog park, and fitness room for the residents of the apartments. Sub-area B still consists of the 75 townhome units, now within 11 buildings. The units still include 3 to 4 bedrooms and separate amenities for townhome residents. The project still proposes to provide off-site improvements, including sidewalk enhancements along West 169th Street, just west of the project site, and upgrades to Normandy Avenue sidewalk as well, and railroad improvements in accordance with the standards by the California Public Utilities Commission and Union Pacific Railroad. The site has 4 access points separated by sub-area. For sub-area A, access is provided off of West 169th Street and Normandy Avenue. Sub-area B has a separate entry from 169th Street and again, one along West 170th Street. There's no access proposed from the public alley west of the site. What's being asked of the commission tonight is to decide on the listed entitlements here for recommendation to the city council. So again, these items before the commission tonight are not being acted upon of whether to approve or deny, but for recommendation to the city council. The main entitlement being proposed by the applicants is the adoption of the Normandy Crossing specific plan and the site plan as proposed. The Normandy Crossing specific plan provides a development framework, including zoning and uses permitted, tailored to the proposed site. The next few slides show the tables of the outline for the standards under the specific plan. The first here being for the apartment units, including permitted uses that consist of multifamily residential amenities, and ancillary uses such as home occupations. Previously, the specific plan as presented to the commission in March included short-term corporate housing, but that has since been removed. Prohibited uses would include all short-term rentals and home sharing rentals. The proposed density of the revised project around the entire plan area is now at 63 dwelling units per the acre. Again, 258 apartment units within a building of 5 stories at 70 feet. The apartments would have a total of 29 guest parking spaces, 5 of which would be publicly accessible along Normandy Avenue to accommodate for the lost public spaces along West 169th Street. Bicycle parking would be provided now at 65 secured long-term and 4 short-term spaces. The townhome uses are being proposed to allow for residential uses for multifamily housing, including attached and detached townhome styles, and residential and ancillary uses. The specific plan is now proposed to reflect that the townhomes are for sale only, where previously the specific plan called for the flexibility for the units to be for rent. That has since been removed. Prohibited uses similarly would consist of short-term rentals and home sharing rentals. In the proposed development, height of each buildings would be at three stories at 40 feet. The townhomes still call for 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit and a total of 19 spaces, where previously proposed at 10. There will be no bicycle parkings proposed for the townhome sub-area. The general plan amendment being requested is for all 4 sites to be redesignated to specific plan in order to allow for the Normandy Crossing specific plan. In addition, while not part of the project area, there are 2 adjoining properties to the site. The first, along the southwest end of the site, a single-family home property addressed at 16964 Bryan Avenue. It's currently zoned industrial. If the project to be approved, staff is recommending that this site be redesignated to single-family residential. In addition, the site adjacent to the project to the east, which currently has the Union Pacific Railroad tracks, be redesignated to public institutional. And to be consistent with the zoning or the general plan amendments, the zoning map amendments would be to rezone the site from M1, M2, and HO4 to Normandy Crossing specific plan zone. And again, the adjusting the zoning for the adjacent parcels to reflect the existing uses. The applicant's proposal also includes for a vesting tentative tract map to merge the 4 lots into one and to designate 2 separate parcels, one for the townhomes, and to allow for this area for the subdivision of airspace or 75 townhome or condominium units, and the second being for the apartment building. Again, the townhomes would be exclusively for sale and not to rent as proposed in the specific plan. The applicant will still be required to pay a total of $10,000 per unit for park and lieu fees. As mentioned previously, the previous project called for 20 affordable units at a lower income level. The revised project now calls for 7 affordable units at moderate income level. This will still support the city's regional housing need assessment allocation of 5,735 units, 894 which are for moderate units. The remaining units within the proposal will be could go towards the city's allocation for above moderate units of 2,595. So housing element law requires the city to always maintain an adequate inventory of sites for all income levels, and the city is required to track approvals to ensure such properties remain available. During the 2021-2029 housing element update, in determining the sites to be made available, the city was able to detect projects that were within the pipeline, including the original project of 403 units, which again included 20 lower income units. In addition, because the project was amended partway through the housing element process, the housing element sites inventory still showed the 31 moderate income housing units being developed on the northern portion, and these units must be accounted for if the project were to be approved. Therefore, however, as shown in the chart here, the city will still have sufficient surplus in order to accommodate for its regional housing need. As part of the project is the request for adoption of a development agreement, which would guarantee the right for the project to be built as set forth in the specific plan for a period of 5 years, with 1 5-year extension available at the request of either party, the city or the developer. Benefits within the DA for the city include, again, providing 7 moderate income housing units, sidewalk improvements along West 169th Street, sidewalk and railroad crossing improvements along Normandy Avenue, a local hiring and local buying program, and one-time free monthly transit pass for those within the department for 1 year. As part of the project, the city retained the services of Kimley Horn and Associates to prepare an environmental impact report and to provide a peer review of the applicant's studies. After the developer submitted plans for the revised project, the city's consultant provided an analysis of this alternative and did find that no new significant impacts were identified. However, at this time, I will bring up James Thomas to speak on the findings under the environmental impact report.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. We're here to go through the environmental impact analysis that was prepared for the, thank you, that was prepared for the community input alternative. Oh, yeah, sorry. Just vertically challenged. So as a reminder, environmental analysis of projects is required by the California Environmental Quality Act. And this chart here kind of goes through what the CEQA process was for this project to date. So as a reminder, from May to June of 2023, there was a notice put out to the public that the project would be commencing environmental analysis. And the public had a 30-day period to provide any comments on environmental concerns that they may have for the project. That led to a community meeting, a scoping meeting in the middle of May in 2023. Following that, Kimley Horn and Associates, in coordination with the city, commenced preparing a draft environmental impact report, or an EIR. That was concluded at the end of 2023, and that was put out for public review for 45 days, both to members of the public and to agencies that had any form of approval or oversight to the project. Following the close of that public review period, which was in January of 2024, we then prepared a final EIR, or environmental impact report, that reviewed and addressed all of the comments received during that public review period. That led to the March 19th, 2024 Planning Commission hearing, and following that, once the applicant came through with the community input alternative, we began preparing a revised and updated final EIR to address the modifications to the site plan that we have introduced as this community input alternative. That's led to where we are tonight at the Planning Commission hearing of December 3rd, and then the next step would be some future City Council hearing date. As you can see in green, those are all of the opportunities for public input that have been provided along this process, starting approximately a year and a half ago. At the onset of the environmental analysis, we prepared an initial study. That's a preliminary environmental document scoping out environmental issues to be analyzed. The initial study found that the project could have a significant environmental effect. That determination is what led to us preparing the full environmental impact report. The environmental issues that we evaluated as part of that EIR are shown on the screen. Some key issues would be aesthetics, air quality, noise, population, recreation, hazardous materials, greenhouse gas emissions, and for several of these areas, there were technical studies or analyses prepared to support the analysis. At the conclusion of the EIR, we found that for most of the areas studied, there would be either no impact or a less than significant impact. For some of the issue areas, there would be mitigation needed. That would include cultural resources, geology and soils, hazardous materials, noise and vibration, recreation, tribal cultural resources, and utilities and service systems. For those issue areas with mitigation incorporated, the project would be less than significant. They'd be below the thresholds that the state CEQA guidelines has set for those issue areas. However, for construction noise, even with mitigation, the project would be over the threshold, and so that's stated as a significant unavoidable impact. As part of the EIR, it analyzed alternatives, one of which was a no project, no construction alternative, followed by a existing land use alternative, which contemplated keeping the site in its current designation, which led to about 228,000 square feet of industrial park. There was also a reduced density alternative, which was similar to the project's general layout, but resulted in fewer apartment units by 136. And then finally, as part of this revised and updated final EIR, there was the community input alternative. So similar to the project, however, as the city already covered in the presentation, the apartment buildings were reduced from 7 stories to 5 with the inclusion of a subterranean parking level. There's a brief summary of these impacts on the following slide, but I won't spend much time on that because the city planner already covered that as part of her presentation. As a summary of the comparison of impacts between the project and the community input alternative, the community input alternative would reduce impacts to aesthetics, air quality, energy, GHGs, noise, public services, and recreation compared to the project. So with this alternative, it would result in lesser impacts to those issue areas. During the original draft EIR publication, we received those following comment letters, which were addressed as part of the final EIR. Following the draft EIR being put out and ahead of the last Planning Commission, there were 17 additional comment letters that were received. Those comments and all of their responses are now included as part of this revised and updated final EIR. And finally, I'll note there were 5 additional comments received in the past 24 hours ahead of this hearing. And none of those comments raised new or substantial environmental impacts that were included in the state CEQA guidelines. So recirculation of the document's not required, but the responses to those comments that were received earlier than 24 hours ago are all included in this revised and updated EIR. And then the final EIR's kind of table of contents are listed there, but we're available if you have questions on any particular environmental impacts. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you.
So I'll just have a few more slides on what is on staff's presentation, and we'll bring back the consultant if the commission has any questions. But I just want to clarify that the certifying the EIR is a separate action from the project and ensuring CEQA compliance with enabling its use as a base for any future projects for the site. In regards to tonight's public hearing, a notice was published in the Gardena Valley News, and letters were sent out to owners within 300 and occupants within a 300-foot radius of the site. In addition, the applicant did hold a community meeting on November 18th of this year. In addition, as well, the applicant received 35 letters of support from local businesses, which were made part of the record tonight. And did want to also put on the record that the city and the commission did receive 5 public comment letters, actually, I believe 6, from the start of this meeting that were received by staff, provided to the Planning Commission, and made available to the public tonight. So what's being asked of the commission is to consider the following on recommendations to the City Council. First, staff is recommending for certification of the final and updated EIR. What is also being asked of the commission is to consider to approve the general plan amendment, which includes the changes to the 2 adjacent parcels, and whether to approve the remaining requested entitlements for the project. So staff's recommendation for the commission is to open the hearing, conduct public hearing, receive testimony, and make a recommendation to the City Council to certify the revised and updated EIR that has been prepared, and to make a recommendation on the following, again, whether to approve the general plan amendment, and whether to approve the remaining entitlements, which again is the zone change, zone tax amendment, specific plan, vesting tentative track map, site plan review, and the development agreement, which also includes for the affordable housing agreement. At this time, that ends staff's presentation. The commission has any questions, but again, reminder that the applicants have also prepared a presentation if the commission wishes to review that at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? At this time, I'll open up the public hearing, and if the applicant would be.
All right. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Stephen Ludwig. I am one of the developers of the Normandy Crossing Specific Plan. Again, thank you all for your time this evening. My team is also here tonight should there be any technical questions at any point throughout the evening. This is obviously our second meeting with the Planning Commission to present the Normandy Crossing project. We're here tonight after having worked diligently with the community and the city over the past 6 months, carefully listening to the concerns about density, height, traffic, parking, and any other concerns. As a result of these past 6 months of outreach and engagement, we are back tonight to share with you a modified and smaller project that we believe reflects a response to some of these concerns, while also resulting in a feasible and viable housing project that the city envisioned for this site during the process of updating the housing element. On a personal note, I am the proud co-founder of 2 growing businesses with approximately 60 employees. In 2019, my partners and I bought a warehouse here in Gardena, and we relocated both of the businesses here to the city before the Normandy Crossing, well before the Normandy Crossing project. With all candor, I do love the city of Gardena. I spend a lot of time here, enjoying the restaurants, the services, the community. And that's exactly why I chose to relocate our businesses here, and now to continue that investment in this city. This project is a partnership between NextGen Apartments and Psycho Investment Corp. Together, we have over $2 billion of investment in residential and industrial real estate. And that track record makes our team uniquely suited to ensure that this project becomes a reality for the city of Gardena. Again, we wanted to thank the staff for all of their hard work on this project over the last 2.5 years, truly. And we greatly appreciate you hearing us for the second time this evening. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana.
Good evening. My name is Dana Sales on behalf of the applicant team. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I apologize if some of the information we present was already presented by staff. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about this in a slightly different context and give you a little bit more color about some of these changes. Just as a reminder, the site itself is about 5.25 acres along Normandy Avenue. As staff said, it's between 169th and 170th Street. But really, it's the last remaining heavy industrial site in this area, which is completely surrounded by single and multifamily communities. The site, again, has the 2 zones, which are both industrial, and the industrial zoning currently permits uses such as adult-oriented businesses, industrial laundry, laboratories, machine shops, manufacturing, assembly, and warehousing uses, offices, and only a limited amount of commercial uses incidental to those industrial uses. Emergency shelters are also permitted by right in this zone. Also, as staff said, the northern portion of the site is designated with a housing overlay, which does permit residential development, and specifically SROs up to a density of 30 dwelling units to the acre and up to a height of 65 feet. However, good planning practice acknowledges that continued manufacturing and warehousing uses, as well as many of the uses that are permitted by right on this property, are incompatible with adjacent residential development, and in the long term represent a significant impact to health, safety, and welfare for our communities. Additionally, while SROs are permitted on this site, the development team has made a very conscious effort to program a project with larger multi-bedroom units to ensure that the project provides a variety of housing needs for the entire community. This slide shows the current condition of the site, which again is occupied by 2 industrial users. One is a warehousing and trucking company, and the other is home to a parking lot cleaning equipment operation. The physical condition of this property is typical of an industrial operation, with limited sidewalks and no pedestrian appeal, mismatched industrial fencing, no street lighting or landscaping, and prominent railroad tracks that insulate the site to the west from Normandy Boulevard. The project was started many years ago, as the team starts most of its projects, with the very specific intent of providing attainable multifamily housing with a strong collection of amenities for its residents, with significant public infrastructure investment to improve the surrounding community around our properties. As such, new housing on this property is consistent with the residential nature of properties in every other direction surrounding this site. Also, as staff indicated, the city recognized this by identifying this site as a pending project in its recently adopted housing element, and as such, taking credit for 403 dwelling units as part of its RHNA allocation. As a result of these identified pending projects, the housing element acknowledges that of its allocation of 5,735 units, these projects represent planned capacity of 1,089 units, and thus only 4,486 units were then planned by the city, left to plan by the city. As such, the Normandy Crossing specific plan before you today is a residential community at the density that was already anticipated for this property by the housing element. The project provides a variety of housing needs without displacing a single residential unit, and once complete, hopefully will enhance the experience on Normandy Boulevard with a more walkable and pedestrian environment. As a reminder, the site plan itself consists of a total of 333 units. As staff indicated, 258 apartments that include studio 1 and 2 bedroom units above 1 level of subterranean parking and 1 level of at-grade parking. Units are organized around 2 lush and highly amenitized courtyards. All vehicular access from the multifamily building is provided from the 2 entries, one from 169th Street and one from Normandy Boulevard, as staff indicated. These entries will also provide gated, secured accesses to those residences. The 75 townhomes that surround the apartments are provided in 11 building clusters, attractively designed as 3-level homes, each with a 2-car private garage, also organized around a pool and a clubhouse with 19 guest parking spaces sprinkled throughout the community. As opposed to the apartment building, which provides smaller units from studio to 2-bedroom units, the townhouses are all designed as with 3- and 4-bedroom units to accommodate larger households. Access to these townhomes is provided also via one driveway from 169th again, and the second relocated driveway at 170th Street. There's no project access of any kind from Brighton Way to the west, and the project provides all of its own internal circulation. In total, the project provides a substantial diversity of unit types, from studio to 4 bedrooms with no SROs on site, and all of this just to accommodate prospective populations from single residents to multi-generational and large families with both for sale and for rent options on site. For the past 9 months, since the project was first presented to the commission, we've been actively engaging with neighbors, businesses, stakeholders, staff, and city leaders, and listening and making project changes. Engagement has been ongoing through several community and neighbor meetings, door-to-door canvassing efforts, one-on-one meetings with residences and businesses in town. We have not only heard concerns, but also support for the project from the Gardena community, and we've obtained 33 letters of support, which I forgot to bring up here to show you, but they've been provided to staff and are in your package. And we've continued these outreach efforts up to our most recent community meeting, which we held just before this Thanksgiving break a couple weeks ago. And as a result of this engagement, the project's been substantially modified as follows. For the apartments, and again, most significantly, we heard many, many times that the community could not support the original 7-story building height at this location and that the total density was just too much. As such, Steve and the design team made the very hard choice to reduce the project size not just by 1 story, which was actually discussed by this commission back in March, but instead by a full 2 stories, bringing the modified project to 5 stories. The original project was originally 328 apartments, and it's been reduced down to 258, or 70 fewer units. This image shows the outline of the prior project versus the proposed project and the substantial reduction in height. This is not a small kind of nip tuck that you would often see in projects as they make changes, resulting in an insignificant and non-visible change. The loss of 70 units and 20 feet of building height was a careful decision that was made in an effort to try to create a consensus program that mitigates some of the concerns expressed by the community about density. While doing this, the apartment building has also maintained all of the parking on site, with parking ratio increasing from 1.2 to 1.5 spaces per unit, which now provides code-compliant parking of 1 space for studios and 1.5 spaces for 1 and 2 bedroom units, plus guest parking in compliance with the city's code. In order to achieve a 5-story building, the team made a decision to provide 1-level subterranean parking, resulting actually in a more expensive parking garage. All of the open space and amenities from the original program are still provided, as well as the substantial landscaping and new trees provided in and around the building. In order to maintain a financially feasible project from the loss of 70 units and the addition of a subterranean parking level, the restricted affordable provisions have been modified to now include 7 moderate income units, as indicated by staff. For the townhomes, the unit count remained at 75, which we feel is very important to maintain a transitional housing product between single-family homes to the west and the south and proposed multifamily within our project and to the SROs to the north. This home ownership element is important to complement the thriving community that surrounds the project, with larger multi-bedroom units to support families, intergenerational households, and expanding households. We also did increase the guest parking count up to a compliant 19 stalls in the townhome in order to alleviate neighbors' concerns about spillover parking within the community. Additionally, the relocation of the driveway was also in response to neighbors' concerns, specifically about the original access point that directly faced adjacent homes. So overall, this project is reduced now to 333 units, which is less than the city took credit for in the recent housing element on the property. We also heard many concerns from neighbors related to concern about privacy and intrusion into abutting yards. So our team took the time to model views from the 5th floor of the apartments facing west. In this view, at the nearest single-family homes are close to 100 feet away, and they're buffered by a row of townhouses, which almost completely obscures any possible view intrusion into homes to the west. We also took the time to model views from the 2nd floor townhome balconies that face the homes along Brighton Way. First, the balconies are inset, flush with the face of the building. Second, they're approximately 35 feet away from the nearest homes, which is significantly less than the 5-foot setbacks that are traditionally found on a standard single-family lot. Last, many of the homes on Brighton Way have garages along the street, and thus the potential impact of a 3-story home 35 feet away would be minimized to the extent feasible. All of these revisions, as James indicated, have been thoroughly reviewed in a comprehensive errata to the environmental impact report and have resulted in reduced impacts to all of the impact areas. The community itself offers high-quality amenities, high-quality design and robust amenities, state-of-the-art appliances and building materials, secured access, in-unit laundry, private balconies, multi-purpose facilities, and co-working opportunities, and many of the units have private balconies or yards. Additionally, the project provides over 40,000 square feet, which is almost an acre of common and private open space and amenity areas, including 2 pools, multiple on-site lounges, fitness, barbecue areas, dog parks, all to ensure that the community provides robust recreational opportunities for its residents. We're also providing 48 new trees on and off-site surrounding the property. This project is conceived also achieves the highest levels of sustainability as an infill development, which is the single largest environmentally friendly measure for a project, which is locating housing near retail and close to jobs and transportation. When complete, the building will meet or exceed all of the California Green Building Code and Title 24 requirements. As such, the development incorporates eco-friendly building materials, Energy Star appliances, low VOC paints, drought-tolerant painting, and an overall high-performance building envelope. Also, in accordance with California's electrification laws, the building will be fully electric for all appliances, heating, cooling, and the building will provide rooftop solar equipment with battery backup systems. The project also, as an infill project, has wonderful access to Gardena's transit, road, and pedestrian infrastructure. The project provides bicycle amenities, including 65 short-term and four long-term bike parking spaces for its residents. 40% of the vehicles will also be equipped for future EV in accordance with also California Building Code. Building management will also be available to assist tenants with access to the area's transit programs. The site also has a walk score of 78, which, as a result of its proximity to shopping and services, within a short walk or bike to Artesia Boulevard. Our team also worked diligently with the community to address concerns about safety and security in and around the site, and as such, the entire property will be key card controlled at all pedestrian and vehicular access points. Building management will employ a robust exterior lighting and security program, securing all paths of travel in and around the site and providing on-site security guard for after-hours security patrol. The project will also maintain areas of the site, including sidewalks, to ensure that trash, graffiti, and other potential nuisances are all effectively managed. And when complete, the project will put lighting and eyes on the street that will help deter crime, theft, and vagrancy, which are currently nuisance attractors due to a dark, closed industrial site on property. As part of our development agreement, also as indicated by staff, the project is committed to significant pedestrian improvements around the site, including most significantly a pedestrian crossing with ADA clearance, handrails, and signage across the train tracks along Normandy. Additionally, the site will be upgrading sidewalks along Normandy and 169th Street, as well as 2 blocks to the west on the south side of 169th. And all of this is an effort to improve safety and security in and around the property and to enhance the overall built environment. So when complete, we put together some before and after photos to demonstrate the existing industrial nature of the site and what could be with a proposed project. This is a view at the corner of Normandy and 169th Street facing southwest. This is a view at the corner of Brighton Way and 169th, sort of facing the townhomes with the apartments in the back. And then a third view at Normandy and 170th, where there will now be a new pedestrian crossing for people to actually safely cross the tracks where they cannot today. The project itself, again, if it sees a reality, brings much-needed multifamily for rent and for sale housing to the community with a wide range of unit types and some on-site affordable housing. The project increases on-site parking supply for both the apartments and townhouses, generates substantial revenue for the city of Gardena with $3.1 million of impact fees and approximately $450,000 in new tax revenue annually, and net benefits to the city of approximately $12 million annually. The project also is investing almost $1 million in infrastructure improvements around the site, as I just indicated. And lastly, the project is committed to a significant local hire and buying program for both construction and stabilized operations, with an exclusive initial offering of the units to local workers before offering them to the broader public. Oops. So we're here tonight to ask your support for this project. We have worked very hard on revisions over the past 9 months. We understand that there's still some concern among neighbors immediately surrounding the neighborhood about density, height, or the overall size of the project. We understand that change is difficult, but this is a project that does bring new needed multifamily housing into the city. The revised project results in significant height and density reductions, again, now below what the city had deemed appropriate for the site and the housing element. We have increased our per unit parking supply ratios. The project includes over almost an acre of open space and recreational opportunities. And all of this, again, is without displacing a single residential housing unit and replacing an incompatible industrial land use surrounded entirely by housing. The project today is well-designed and purposely sized that is much smaller than the city originally intended. We are grateful for the close collaboration with city and staff over the past 2 years, and particularly over the last 9 months, and hope that this reduced size project addresses many of the initial concerns about new development at the site. So on behalf of our entire Normandy Crossing team, we urge your recommendation of support to the City Council, and our entire team is available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Have any questions for the applicant? No. Go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. First, I would like to thank all the residents for their input and their involvement, and also like to thank the developer for engaging with the residents and come up with the revised projects. Thank you.
I do have a question. So the reduction of 70 units, was there a ratio for the 20 affordable housing to now we're at 258 to 7? What's the ratio to that, or to why did we come to 7?
The original project had a 5% lower income. The revised is 2% moderate. And again, it was a cost reduction measure to offset the reduction in multifamily housing, as well as the added project cost for moving some of the parking below grade.
Okay.
What's your process of hiring local and buying local? How did you go by?
I may have to have someone else come and answer.
Specifically in working with the general contracting firm to construct the projects, when we put out proposals, we will be looking for local general or subcontractors to execute the construction. We will be looking for local building materials supply firms, many of which we know in the city of Gardena. And so, you know, again, we would like to keep as much as we can within the city, and we look forward to that process.
With my question is with the EIR, does it account for the electrical grid stress when you're going to have a potential units of 300 or 258 potential units of all electric? How does that impact, or how much impact is that done, or is there a study to how much that would be to our electrical grid?
Yeah, so as part of the EIR, we researched and looked into the California Electrical Commission, or CEC, puts out reports of the total electrical capacity available and what's used. So we looked through the data that's available both for California as a whole and within Southern California, and the project would have a minimal effect on electricity demand. We saw no shortage as a part of the project. That was addressed in the EIR.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Henderson.
Come forward, please, sir.
Just to add to that, we've also worked with SoCal Edison, the local electric utility provider, submitted an application based on the current size of the project, and they have verified that they have sufficient capacity in the immediate area. They're above ground transmission lines running along Normandy Avenue, and they can service the entire project from those lines. And no additional infrastructure is required to be brought anywhere away from the property.
Thank you. there any other questions for the applicant?
So at this time, staff has received 22 requests to speak on this item.
Okay, thank you. So before we open up the public hearing for this, we take a 5-minute recess. Need you just quick 5 minutes. I have a couple of questions to ask, and then we'll come back and we'll continue the meeting. Okay, we're back. We're gonna come back in session, please. Could everyone take their seats, please? Thank you. So we'll open up the public hearing. And with all the speakers that's coming forward, please just, we're gonna limit to 2 minutes. And I thank everyone for coming out, so you don't have to thank me, and the commission for seeing this, because this will cut into your time. So just, be straight to the point, and also we can get to this. So at this time, may we have our first speaker?
Okay, so I'll be calling each individual up, so please make your way to the podium. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes. So can we please have Ta Zemmer? And I do apologize in advance if I don't pronounce your name correctly. And right after is Mario Matamoros.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. Good evening. My name is Tal, and I am a business owner here in beautiful Gardena. Right here, I have a local building materials company. I'm here today to voice my strong support for the approval of the proposed housing development project at Normandy Crossings. As many of you are aware, our city is currently facing a significant shortage of quality available housing. This shortage not only affects the residents of Gardena, but also impacts local businesses like mine. At my company, we believe that the Normandy Crossings project will bring numerous benefits to our community. Firstly, this development will provide much needed housing options for our residents. By increasing the availability of quality housing, we can help ensure that more families have access to safe, newly built, and comfortable homes. This is particularly important for our employees who will have the opportunity to live closer to their workplace, reducing their commute times and improving their overall quality of life. Some of my employees travel over an hour each way to get to work because, frankly, there is no place for them to live in Gardena. Secondly, the Normandy Crossings project will contribute to the economic growth and revitalization of Gardena. By attracting new residents and businesses, we can create a more vibrant and thriving community. This development will also help upgrade our city to the likes of its neighboring beachside communities, making Gardena an even more desirable place to live and work. In conclusion, I strongly, strongly urge the commissioners here to approve this project and the housing development project. This project represents a significant step forward for our city, addressing the housing shortage, supporting local businesses like mine, and enhancing the overall quality of life for our residents and my employees. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mario Matamoros. And right following, Federico Leff.
Good evening. My name is Mario. I have lived in the South Bay for the past 21 years and attended Lusinger High School. While I still work in the South Bay and my family still lives in Gardena, I recently got married and had to move to an apartment in Orange County as the rental market here was way out of our budget. My wife and I were looking for an amenitized apartment community at a reasonable cost, which unfortunately was not available in the city of Gardena. As a result, I commute about 60 to 90 minutes to work every day, there and back, and on the weekends to visit my family. That is roughly about 18 hours a week of driving. I am here to support the Normandy Crossing project, as this is the type of housing that would bring my wife and I back home, as well as many of my friends who are also young professionals seeking a similar quality of life. The housing market in California has been getting worse as the years go by. There are not enough houses being built, and what is available is way overpriced. One day, I would like to be able to raise my children in this beautiful community, and this project might be able to give me this opportunity for my family and I. I truly appreciate the history of Gardena and those who have lived here for a long time. Preserving the character of Gardena is important to me, but so is planning for the future, for my future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Federico Leaf. And following is Christian Cabrera.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Federico Lev. I am a dual national, non-resident of Gardena until very recently. I was living in Mexico City, so I think I bring a very different point of view from the outside. I was hired by a local company, and I have been having to travel from Mexico City to LAX, commute to Gardena, and stay overnight 1 week, leaving my family and including two young kids in Mexico. I've been diligently looking for a place to live here. As I said, I never gave up my residency as a California resident, and I have slowly but surely fallen in love with this community. And what those pictures and renders don't show is what could possibly be inside of those windows, which could be a very, very happy family enjoying the amenities of a beautiful community, both inside and out. Not only adding to this beautiful community, but actually enhancing it and making it a place where a friend of my friend is my friend. And I would be very, very honored to be able to have that possibility. It's been very, very difficult to find housing for that. And my only other option has been to find a place very, very distant, where I would not be able to get home, put my kids to bed, kiss them goodnight. And I think that is very important to bring the family back into a community and family values. And I think I appreciate what the community is already. And if given the opportunity, I think this community would be able to add to that. And I'd just love to be part of that. So thank you for letting me speak. And hopefully I'll be a fellow Gardinan very soon.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have Christian Cabrera following Tish McCauley?
Good evening. My name is Christian Cabrera, and I'm proud to call the South Bay my home. I grew up here, graduated from Lawndale High School, and stayed rooted in the area to pursue my education, earning a master's degree in financial analytics from Long Beach State. My connection to Gardena runs deep, whether enjoying tacos at Tio's Tacos, menudo at El Antojito, or playing soccer at Rosecrans Park or Barger Park. This city has always been a big part of my life. I'm here to support the approval of Normandy Crossings because I believe it will address a critical need for housing while preserving and enhancing the community we all cherish. Gardena is growing, and families need quality housing options. Normandy Crossings offers affordable townhomes and apartments with diverse options for residents at different life stages. This project goes beyond housing. It's also about revitalizing Gardena's economy. New residents will bring increased foot traffic to local businesses, shops, restaurants, and service providers that are the backbones of this city. Places like Tio's Tacos and El Antojito, which already contribute so much to Gardena's vibrant community and culture, will see new customers and sustained growth. Normandy Crossings will ensure that small businesses can thrive alongside the community. Normandy Crossings reflects thoughtful, responsible development. It balances new growth with Gardena's character and ensures the city remains a place where families can thrive for generations. As someone who has lived, studied, and built my life in this region, I see this project as an investment in Gardena's future, a way to secure opportunities for today's residents, local businesses, and the next generation. I urge you to approve Normandy Crossings and help us build a stronger, more vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I please have Tish McCauley following Khalid Betty Finerson?
Hi, my name's Tish McCauley, and I actually do live in the neighborhood. And I appreciate the renderings and the changes that the developers made, and I appreciate them saying that they've been listening, but I'm not sure they've actually been hearing some of the specific complaints. This is a single-family neighborhood that's been well-established, and to put a 5-story building, it will put me literally in the shadow of this building, where I've lived for 30 years. That's not something that I am even interested in entertaining. I do appreciate that people would like to move to the area, but we don't have any idea what these 7 moderately priced apartments are going to be, nor do we have any idea, because we don't know until it's built, what the market will bear. But I think it'll be surprising to think that people can't afford to live, in Gardena, think that they're going to be able to live in this beautiful place. My biggest point is that, to coin the phrase, good planning practices would have seen that this project just simply doesn't fit in this space. It's 5 stories high in a single-family neighborhood. We're still having difficulty getting over the Grace Lane townhomes and adjusting to that, and they've been there for I don't know how many years, and those are only 3 stories high, but there's still difficulty in providing difficult backyard, or neighbors are having a difficult time with that. But I don't think that the neighborhood's just change averse. I just think that this is absolutely the wrong location for that building. While the townhomes don't excite me a whole lot, I think that's a much better option. And the parking, I know that there've been studies on it, but the parking already is congested and ridiculous. And I know they've added some parking places, but it's not enough. There's just no way that this is not going to cause a whole lot of problems for a whole lot of families who have lived in the area for a long, long time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have Kali Betty Finerson following Salvador George?
Excuse me,
Good
sir.
evening.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Please refrain from clapping. Okay, thank you.
Good evening to the members of the Gardena City Planning Commission. My name is Khalil Aaron Betty Finnerson. I'm a union carpenter for almost a decade. Well, if you guys are gonna build this building, at least we're here to stand for the fact that you guys have to make sure you're hiring local hires that are in the union, because if you're not hiring union members, you're putting the people in the community at risk of working under unfair and unsafe conditions, which is not conducive for them feeding their families. And so I respectfully request the commission to require developers to enter the binding agreements, ensuring the fair treatments of all workers, including undocumented individuals. Thank you for your time and thoughtful considerations of these concerns. I trust the commission will prioritize fairness and dignity for all workers in this decision, setting a standard for Gardena as a city that values justice and equity. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have Salvador George following Charlie Ventura?
Good evening, members of the Gardena City Planning Commission. My name is Salvador George, and I'm a proud member of the Carpenters Local 323. I'm here today representing the 90,000 members of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, which stands for the rights of livelihoods of hardworking individuals in our community. I'd like to address the specific concerns about this proposed project, Normandy Crossings, which I believe could have significant impacts on both workers and the local community. We need assurances that the project will provide fair opportunities for local workers. It is essential that any approved development includes enforceable commitments to prevailing wage, local hire agreements, and the use of apprenticeship programs to support career pathways. While we understand the need for growth, it's critical that this development does not benefit external investors while exploiting our local workforce. Projects like this should boost our local economy, not strain it. Too often we see developers in similar projects exploiting workers by paying them below minimum wage, denying them benefits, and disregarding their safety on the job sites. These unethical practices not only harm workers, but also undercut the wages and opportunities of union members and other workers in our community. Many developers fail to implement rigorous oversight to ensure that fair treatment of workers on their sites. Without transparency and strict enforcement mechanisms, of undocumented workers become vulnerable to unsafe conditions and wage theft, perpetuating cycles of poverty and inequality. As a city that values diversity and inclusivity, Gardena has the responsibility to stand against exploitation in all forms. Supporting developments that engage in these practices tarnishes our community's values. As someone who has witnessed the daily oppression faced by construction workers on job sites, I cannot stay silent. These individuals are part of the community.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have Charlie Ventura? Following Corey Shiosa.
Good evening, members. My name is Charlie Ventura. I'm a proud member of the Carpenters Union. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak here. I'd like to address specific concerns about the proposed project at Normandy Crossing, which I believe could have significant impacts not only on workers but the local community. I respectfully request the Commission to require stronger labor agreements and local hire provisions in the project plan. Require developers to enter into bidding agreements, ensuring that the fair treatment of all workers, including undocumented individuals, mandated independent oversight to prevent wage theft and unsafe working conditions. With that being said, I would think that recommending this to the City Council would be a disservice to the community here without having proper labor agreements ahead of the project. We heard these talks about partnerships, but they're not partnering with the community here. We are the community. We've been in the community for over 100 years, and we built anywhere from Gardena, Harbor City, Lomita. We are a partnership, and we're not getting, we don't see a partnership here when they're not abiding to union standards, local standards, living standards, and it would be a disservice for this to be recommended to the council without proper union labor agreements. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have Corey Shiosa? Following Rosa Sato.
Good evening. My name is Corey Shiozaki. I'm a local resident. Live very close to this particular proposed future development. It's beautiful and everything, and it's gorgeous. What else could I say? But I have a prepared statement that I'd like to read, and it's our understanding that the project of the Normandy Crossing is not zoned for residential property. We as a community wish to have more retail stores for the project, and although the developers have made a reduction in the amount of rentals, it still remains to be overpopulated for this area. We understand that neighboring businesses are supporting the project. However, the residents are the ones that are going to be impacted by this development with the overdensity, more cars, more population. And like I said, I live within walking distance to this, and the traffic that's going to come from this development is going to spill right down our streets, trying to make their way to Artesia. They're going to be cutting through Brighton Way, making their turns onto 173rd, 172nd to find access to get to Artesia. Now, there's more developments along Artesia. This development here is not a good fit for the local residents, including where. So, the amount of units that they plan doesn't really make sense. I mean, they're talking about, making affordable housing for who? People who are living outside of this area are probably going to pay more to live here in a new development. Plus, what is this idea of allowing 1.5 parking spaces for the residents and when they're going to drive to a car and a motorcycle? Or it doesn't make sense that there's not adequate parking. So that's going to spill over into the local community, which is going to impact a lot of the people who are here tonight who live very close to this proposed development. So I'm urging the commission to deny.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Rosa Sato. Following is Heike Obasha.
His name is Hideki Obayashi.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm Rose Sato, and I too actually live in this city. While we appreciate the changes, this project is still way too dense and 5 stories way too massive. Townhomes are acceptable, but not the massive apartment complex. Maintaining law and order is a primary concern for us. High-density areas with renters, non-homeowners who have little to no interest in our neighborhood will most certainly result in crime, increased police calls, volumes, and associated costs. Personal privacy and safety of our homeowners also becomes an issue. This will put a considerable strain on the Gardena Police and Fire Department as they struggle to handle the influx of hundreds of people without additional officers or resources. Apartment buildings are notorious for marginal tenant parking, and this project is no exception. The overflow from this plus tenants' visitors puts pressure on all available neighborhood curbside parking. This will most certainly result in homeowners requiring parking permits, which is an unacceptable inconvenience. Rent in this complex will be at market rate. That means rents will be high. People won't be able to afford these rents any more than they are where they're currently living. These units will no doubt have multiple occupants, each with their own car because our public transportation is unsafe. The proposed parking allotment is ridiculously insufficient. The driveway flowing directly onto Brighton, which will dump way too much traffic into our quiet neighborhood, making it much less safe for our elders, our children, our dogs that walk these streets day and night. And last but not least, we are concerned about our property values, which will most certainly decrease as a massive complex would detract from the ambience and peaceful environment of our surrounding neighborhoods. The increase in crime, which is a given, will also devalue our homes. How are we to be compensated for this inevitable decline in the value of our homes? Because this and our safety and security and destruction of our neighborhood as we know it.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Okay, so following is Haraki Obayashi.
Yes, this is Hideki Obayashi. I'm a longtime resident of this area and longtime business owner, Gardena Bowl Coffee Shop, Azuma Japanese Restaurants. I hope you'll all come. This site is ridiculous. You know, it was zoned for an industrial purposes, not all these people jamming our streets. And you heard these people. I live on 172nd in Brighton. We're going to have cars zooming down Brighton, coming out of the exit, also down from the alley, making a right turn on 173rd, a left on Dalton, and whoop-de-doo to the aerospace companies. Traffic lights, no traffic lights. Accidents, you're going to have a lot of accidents. No lights, too many cars, too many people. Industrial area, they should have been over on the other side of Artesia to the south where the industrial buildings are. There's just too many people. I'm against this project. Too many people are going to get killed. No traffic lights. You guys are crazy.
Thank you, sir.
Anastasia Carlos, and then following is John Hydro.
Good evening. My name is Anastasia Canlis, and I live in the neighborhood surrounding the project site. So it's one thing to own a business or visit restaurants, shops here in Gardena, but it's another thing to live here. We residents live here, and we'll be the ones that have to deal with the repercussions of the increase of population in the area. There is an apartment complex already on 169th Street, which has over 300 studio units, and the residents in the surrounding areas are dealing with an increase in traffic and overflow parking that is spilling onto their streets in front of their homes. This project is going to have multi-bedroom units and is only going to exacerbate the problem of increased traffic in an already densely inhabited area. Larger multi-bedroom units equal more people, which is not what this area needs. We, the residents who live here, want to work with developers to develop the proposed property for commercial use, not residential. A commercial property would better serve this area and those who actually live in it. There are more suitable areas in the city of Gardena to accommodate a residential project of this magnitude, but the proposed location for Normandy Crossing is not it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, can I have John Hydro? Following is Sylvia Carrera.
Hello, my name's John Hydro. I live in the Gardena area since the 70s. And just want to let you know that I'm not against progress. I'm for the unions, and they should do that ahead of time. They should also make curfews for the construction. No construction at night. There should be time limits. It's going to be bad enough with the air pollution, the noise pollution, the traffic pollution. It's going to spoil the quality of our life for the next 3 to 5 years. And we'll have to make changes to try to accommodate that if that happens, but they shouldn't say there's not going to be an impact. It is going to be an impact, even through that report. But they also said it will be minimum impact, which means that you just got to put up with it and shut up. Well, we don't want to shut up. We want to say it's going to affect our lives. It's a great presentation, but it's just in the wrong place. And you got to talk about construction, you talk about sewers, you talk about water, you talk about electrical connections. We have 2 or 3 blackouts a year, and we were put on drought control with water. So there's supposed to be a lack of water, there's supposed to be a lack of electricity available to the residents here. That's going to impact everybody, including this new building. And the dump trucks, the graders, the water trucks, the cement trucks, all that other stuff is going to be going on for 3 to 5 years. So how can they say it's not going to impact us? I want to thank the council for letting me speak.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can I have Sylvia Carrara? And following is Jesse Carrara.
Well, it's not often I get to speak before my wife, so here we go. My name is Silvio Carrara. I live on Harvard Boulevard, 169th Place. I just want to give you a little report. Today I called the Cocoon, which is the apartment across the street from where they're projecting this project. They still have multiple units available. There are 300 and 400 square foot units, and they're going from $2,000 plus. And their appointments are on Tuesdays and Thursdays if you want to take a tour. They also charge $55 extra for parking. And of course, people are parking on the street. So the point is that, with SpaceX leaving the neighborhood, and I feel quite the opposite, that people are leaving California. I don't think we need more apartments. I think we need less. So if you really need an apartment, call the Cocoon, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Following Jesse Carrera, and then following is Vivian Blas.
Hi, that was my husband. Anyway, I'm Jessie, and I don't live in the neighborhood just adjacent to this project. I live off of Western and 169th Place. So anyway, one of my main concerns is for my neighborhood is that my street, 169th Place, is a cut through from Western to Normandy. People from Artesia cut through the neighborhood on Denker, and then they come through my street to get to Western. So we have a lot of traffic, right? And we have young families in there, older people that live in our neighborhood, and they speed down our street. So traffic is a problem to me, for me. This is a beautiful project. But like we said before, it's the wrong site. And as a homeowner, I am not in favor of this. And also, I don't think there's adequate parking for all those people that's going to be living there. So traffic, they're going to park in the streets. And that happens in my neighborhood. We have a lot of people parking on our streets. And sometimes I get really mad because I can't find parking on my own street. But the other thing is that there's going to be these guys that live adjacent to this community, they're going to have a big parking problem because there's not adequate parking for the guests. Also, I think that, like said before, I think our public services is going to be affected because if we have 333 units here, and you're going to get this new Kaya thing coming up on Artesia, where the old car wash used to be and that auto thing, that's going to be over 600 units. I wonder how many times two people, that's going to be a lot of people and a lot of cars in our streets. It's going to impact our city tremendously. So I think the quality of life, I know it may not be a big thing to you, but it is for us, it's going to be impacted. And the traffic is going to be horrible. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, excuse me.
Okay, can I have Vivian Blas? And then following Eduardo Padilla.
Hi, my name's Vivian. I'm sorry I didn't prepare a speech, so I'm all over the place and I get nervous speaking in public, so forgive me. I have a few concerns, and I just want to quickly touch upon a few of them. One of them is the pollution. The soil is polluted all around Western Artesia. I know because my uncle got cancer living off of Western. They're going to dig this up, and it's going to go into the air. Not only the pollution in the soil, the companies, the demolition. There's a lot of elderly that live in this community who are going to be greatly affected. Not only that, there's children. There's Gardena High down the street, New Millennial, ECMS. You have Arthur Johnson Park, where the kids go and skateboard, which is a very popular place. I know my children go there and my nephews go there. They're literally building in my backyard. And what concerns me is at the last information session, I was told, why do you people want to live with a place that's so polluted? Which my response was, why would you build houses if it's so polluted? And then another comment by the developer/owners was, well, why did you buy there? I'm sorry, but we cannot not afford to live in Hermosa Beach or San Diego. So this is what we have, and these are generational homes passed down. So no, we cannot just get up and leave. We will fight to the very end. Another concern I have is that the traffic. You have 300 plus another 400 something units. These children walk through there. You have big trucks that don't see them. You are endangering the children. I know, I walked there. I walked there as a child coming home from school. Our streets are not built to handle the amount of traffic that's going to flow through there. We're already seeing an influx because of the traffic on Normandy. Can you imagine with these massive units that they built there? Another concern that I have is that you have 403 units, 20.
Thank you for your time. It's on.
Can I have Eduardo Padilla? Following is Jessica Orozco.
Good evening. My name's Eduardo Padilla. I'm a local general contractor and a proud member of the Gardena community. I've completed many renovations, many turns here in Gardena. I prefer to keep my labor force local here. We have a project like this that's good for my business. It's good for local business. A project like this will keep the lights on. It'll help us survive. I have north of 15 employees, and I work with north of 150 subcontractors. And I feel I can speak for them when I say that this project is good, and we support this project to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can I have Jessica Orozco? Following is Corey Crockerham.
Hi, good evening. I was born and raised here in Gardena. My family has been here for 4 generations. I work in Gardena now. I had to move out of the city, unfortunately, due to costs. My child is now in an after-school program and a before-school program so that I can commute to work instead of just living in the area and coming home. Due to the high demand and the low inventory, this isn't a viable option. And I think building this community would make it more affordable and for other families to come home and back into the area. I also believe that it would increase the revenue for the city and help with beautifying the city and continuing to maintain the city as it is. I am standing in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can I have Corey Crockerham, and following is Carrie Hishitani.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Corey Crockerham. I am a member of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, Local 323. I have been a carpenter for 27 years. I'm a builder. I'm here tonight with my brothers and sisters, as you see standing behind me in orange vests, and we are all builders, and we want to build, but at what cost? So we're looking to build with responsible developers who hire responsible contractors. Fun fact, Wage Order 16 is a state law, and this state law states that if you bring your power tools as a worker, you are to be paid double the minimum wage. Double the minimum wage. Now, I can tell you from my experience, I've been on multiple job sites where the developers are not responsible, who hire irresponsible contractors, and those crimes are being committed. So if a developer does not make a commitment that ensures that labor standards are in place, then it is essentially guaranteeing that the opposite will happen. The developer has made some changes, and I think we all see what's notable. The density change, the height change, parking. But some of these ingredients are missing, like local carpenters having access to good paying jobs, safe working conditions, access to health care, not relying on the government assistance, which all taxpayers bear the burden. The ingredients in this mix are not right yet. And once a cake is baked, you can't unbake it. So we ask that you not approve this project to move forward until this mix is right for all who will be impacted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I please have Carrie Hishitani? Following is Brandon Smith.
Hi, my name's Carrie. You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. You can't inject a 1,000-person project in with no clear exit strategies. This area between 170th and Artesia and Normandy and Halldale is a huge cul-de-sac. Now, the only way these people are going to leave on the townhomes through that gate on Brighton Way and 170th is through that cul-de-sac. And you guys are going to hit somebody. My mother-in-law got hit on 169th and Halldale by a car early in the morning while she was walking. And you're going to see a lot of accidents. I don't understand the traffic survey that supposedly they conducted without even thinking about all these cars exiting. And they're not going to exit through 169th because the 258 apartment building is going to exit there too, plus the Cocoon. I drive by the Cocoon area. There is like no parking on the streets. I don't know where they're going to park. Probably in our neighborhood. Privacy, lost, air pollution, noise pollution, light, coming with this development. I'm even scared of health problems, of all this stuff being kicked up in the air for 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna be breathing it at night because it's gonna be hot. You close your windows, night you open it, and what happens? Pollutants fall back to the ground and you breathe it. So I'll be in my home with health problems in the future, along with everybody's family members. And who knows what's going to happen? Are we going to have to do a class action suit against Gardena?
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I have Brandon Smith? Following is Jason Munn.
Good evening, Chair Henderson and the Planning Commission members. I'm here tonight on behalf of 300 families who couldn't be here tonight because they don't know their future homes are at risk still of not being built. The LA area, despite people saying, including my parents, saying everybody's leaving, you know, we're 250,000, you know, it's 250,000, 270,000 actually units short. You know, there's going to be vacancies. There's always housing vacancies. There's always job vacancies. People always move around. There's always going to be empties. But the fact of the matter is there's not enough vacancies as there needs to be. You know, by building everything from studios to these big townhomes, you know, they're providing all kinds of options for people who want to live in their first place, all the way down to people who are starting their first family, right? I'm living in one of the new communities that was approved by this commission in the last few years. It's surrounded by toddlers. There's people running around. They're having a great time. Great, you know, great community. It's wonderful. You know, we're going to see just a ton of families. It sucks as a renter to hear, a previous renter, I'm a homeowner now, fortunately, but as a renter to hear that they're not connected to the community, I find things like that just frankly offensive, and it's reflected as well in the housing element, focusing on things like homeowners instead of everybody in the community, right? We're all living here, we're all Gardenians. You know, the property taxes are being paid, whether or not they're being paid by you or they're being paid by the owner of the building that you're paying the rent to. You know, we're just adding costs. We're making these more expensive. We're delaying this by a year. They're building a basement. You know, they're adding the extra parking. You know, you're just adding costs, right? We need to get this built here. We need to get other things built in other places where we can, and build our way out of this shortage. So thank you for your time, and I really encourage you to pass this approval. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I have Jason Num? Following is Francisco Alvarez.
Hi. I currently live on 170th and Brighton, right in the neighborhood where this is about to be planned. My family has lived in this home since the 60s, probably even before that. But in the last decade or so, for a long time, this was an aging community, but in the last decade or so, it has become young. Many young families have moved in, and we now have kids walking the streets daily. It's really nice. On my street alone, there are 5 homes with kids. On our current street is quiet and safe. My concern is that with the new project, our peace, quiet, and safety for our children will be in danger with the increase of traffic coming from the planned entrance off of 170th. When I came home on Thursday evening, this past Thanksgiving, there was 0 parking in our neighborhood. The entire street was packed. How can a 600-unit complex not spill over into a neighborhood, already densely packed neighborhood? That doesn't include Thursdays and Fridays when half the street is unusable due to street sweeping. Inevitably, people are going to spill into our neighborhood and impact our current lives. I understand the importance of more housing in our city. I support it. I'm asking the city to look elsewhere in more appropriate places, such as the empty lot on Rosecrans of Van Ness that has been vacant for years, or the shut down adult clubs that have been eyesores since they shut down during COVID. There are other places for affordable housing. This is not the answer to Gardena's need for more housing. I'm asking for the city to look elsewhere, or at least reconsider the size of this project and how it's going to impact the young communities that is currently living here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the last speaker is Francisco Alvarez.
Good evening, members of the Gardena City Planning Commission. My name is Francisco Javier. I'm a proud member of the Southwest Carpenters Union Local 323, which stands for the rights and livelihoods of hardworking individuals in our community. First off, I want to start off by saying thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I understand the important role of the commission plays in shaping Gardena's development and ensuring the projects benefit the community. I'd like to address specific concerns about the proposed project, Normandy Crossing, which I believe could have significant impact on both workers and the local community. As a city that values diversity and inclusivity, Gardena has a responsibility to stand against exploitation in all its forms, supporting developments that engage in these practices and our community's values. I respectfully request the commission to require stronger labor agreements and local hire provisions in the project plan. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration of these concerns. I trust the commission will prioritize fairness and dignity for all workers in its decisions, setting a standard for Gardena as a city that values justice and equity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was the last speaker.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. And commissioners, you have any comments, questions for the applicant, staff? Jules? Question for staff?
Question for Amanda. Can you clarify again what you asking for the commission?
Yes, certainly. Let me bring back up my presentation. Okay. So again, tonight, what's being asked of the Planning Commission is to consider the recommendation to the City Council under 3 separate items, with some items being lumped together. So the first being a recommendation to the City Council on the certification of the final and revised and updated EIR that has been prepared by staff and the consultants. The second would be whether to approve the general plan amendment, which again would consist of the 2 adjacent parcels to allow for the specific plan. And third would be whether to approve the remaining requested entitlements. I'll bring up those lists as well.
Amanda, while you're doing that, I just want to state that for actual recommendation of approval of the general plan amendment, that requires a vote of a majority of the total membership. So anything other than a 3-0 vote would not be considered a recommendation of approval. So if it passed 2-1, that would not constitute a recommendation of approval. That would go just forward to the to the City Council with a notation that that this doesn't get, that it's not a recommendation under state law for approval. If it goes the other way, if it went 1-2, then we'd be in the situation we were in last March, April, where we had to come back with new resolutions.
Thank you. So, about, Amanda, first of all, are you finished? You knew, okay, so questions concerned about the project. If the project doesn't move forward, let's just say the project doesn't move forward, recommendations there. So now, understanding that what the site could be possible to. So you have office buildings, industrial laundry, laboratories, machine shops, manufacturing, and with all of these possible entities is going to bring about the same problem. And as we heard tonight, one of the biggest problems that we have is parking. Okay? Now, guess what? Okay, but, okay, hold on. This is not for open discussion because it's closed. I'm giving you what my thoughts is to this. So there's no rebuttal to this. It's just, we have to sit back and just listen, okay? So it would impact this, and yes, there is impact at any time that there's change. There's gonna be impact, but the impact, could it be minimal? Could it be this? Could it be this? It could be anything. But it's just sitting there to say that there's a possibilities of, there's a whole different things if this project doesn't get approved. Just to sit, and I'm just giving it an example. I'm not sitting there saying yes or no, or I'm just saying that this is something that we may have to address somewhere in the future if this project doesn't get approved. So at some point in time, something is going to impact this community. Unless it just goes vacant, and then that's an impact as sit there to be. So that is my take on the situation right here. So if there's any commissioners have anything that they would like to add, and if not, then we can make recommendations.
How you stated, right now the site's condition is not attractive. So for me, this is the opportunity to make a decision.
So
either we can make some more changes and then move forward later on, or leaving as is, I don't think is a good option. Because as industrial sites, that impact the neighborhood. I hear some people talk about property value. In terms of property value, the industrial sites impact more the value of your property than the new proposed project. So if we can do more discussion and find more consensus, so the project can move forward.
So then you're making a recommendation not to move forward. We have to, well, Commissioner Sherman?
I haven't got anything to say, but I'm opposed. I've heard everything that people were saying here, and I'm opposed to this project. So, you know. I don't know. So consensus. Well, obviously, I'm opposed to this. So if it requires all of us, all 5 of us originally, to do this, then I'm not. So, yeah.
Well, there's only 3 of us that can vote on. So, right.
Right. It requires 3 out of 3 for recommendation of the general plan amendment. It requires 2 out of 3 for recommendation of the adoption of the specific plan zoning changes. Again, the Planning Commission is only making a recommendation tonight, and that recommendation gets forwarded to the City Council, which will then hear the matter in January.
So before you tonight, our staff provided 3 resolutions, draft resolutions for the commission. The first being PC number 18-24. This is for the recommendation for the certification of the EIR to the City Council. The second resolution number PC number 19-24 for the recommendation on the general plan amendment, which again requires a majority vote. And the last being the resolution number PC 20-24, which are the remaining entitlements, including the specific plan.
Thank you.
Chair, may I recommend that you take each one and let
Yes.
someone make a motion and second,
Yes.
and then we'll take a vote after each one of the 3.
Yes.
And then Amanda will explain whether you need a 2-1 or 3-0 in order to pass. And then we'll go down the line that way.
Yes, understood.
So if you'd like, I can go one by one again for.
Yes.
So do we have a motion in regards to resolution number PC number 18-24 on the Planning Commission's recommendation for the City Council to approve the certification and adoption of the mitigation monitoring reporting program and adoption of the statement of overriding considerations and making the CEQA findings as prepared for the project in the EIR?
I'll motion to approve.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Chair Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sherman. Motion passes 2-1.
The next for the Planning Commission's consideration is Resolution PC 19-24 in regards to recommendation to the City Council to approve the general plan amendment, again, for the Normandy, for the project site and for the 2 adjacent parcels to the project site.
We have a motion.
I made a motion to approve resolution PC 1924.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
Chair Henderson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sherman.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
The last Planning Commission resolution for consideration that staff has prepared for tonight's meeting is the resolution PC 20-24. The way the staff has drafted the resolution is to have the commission recommend approval for the project entitlements, again, for the specific plan and all the subsequent legislation actions and other site plans and tentative map approvals to approve the project. So under resolution number PC 20-24, as drafted tonight, the Planning Commission would be making approval to the recommendation for approval to the City Council.
We have a motion.
Motion to approve resolution PC 20-24.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
Chair Henderson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sherman.
No.
Motion passes 2-1.
These, okay, this item will go forward to the City Council. We're scheduling January, what is it, Amanda? The second Tuesday of January,
Okay.
the 14th.
So I just want to make it clear to the audience, for those who are pro and against, this is just a recommendation that they made to the City Council. So there is no approval or denial tonight. So if you're wanting to participate in the meetings, you need to let staff know if you haven't already received any notification.
Do you want to take a recess?
Yes.
Let the audience get a chance to clear out before the last item, unless they care to stick around?
Yes, we'll adjourn for 5 minutes. I got it.
Oh, yeah, him.
Probably went home.
All right, we'll call Environmental Planning Commission meeting back to order, please. Okay, excuse me. 6C, Zone Text Amendment 7-24 Ordinance 1877. Recommendation, City Council adoption ordinance numbers 1877 amendment, amending the Gardena Municipal Code, Chapter 18.66 and 18.36020 relating to non-storefront
Can you
retail
just
medicinal.
break until we close the doors? I don't know if it's
Okay.
getting on the screen or video that's showing.
Understood. Okay. So it is recommendation to the City Council, adoption of ordinance 1877, amending the Gardena Municipal Code, Chapter 18.66 and Section Codes 18.36.03020 relating to non-storefront retail medicinal cannabis delivery services and business in the M1 and M2 zoning.
Yes, good evening, Chair Henderson and members of the commission. I don't have necessarily a presentation tonight, but mostly just providing the information in regards to this item. If you recall, back in August of this year, we brought before you draft ordinance number 1875. Basically the same type of amendments to allow for these non-storefront retail medical cannabis delivery services in accordance with new state laws. And so what's being actually brought back before you is a separate ordinance in its own for recommendation to the City Council, as after this item was brought to the City Council with the recommendation from the Commission, staff reassessed the potential impacts that the ordinance could have on allowing storefront retailers, and our compliance with SB 1186, the state bill, and saw that it may have certain impacts that would prevent these types of uses within the city, which again would not be in compliance with the state laws. So ordinance number 1877 was drafted and brought to you tonight for recommendation to the City Council for all of the same amendments that were drafted in the previous ordinance, with the addition that for lots, distance requirements for these types of uses, for lots that have a mobile home park on the property, that these establishments, the non-storefronts, have a minimum distance of 300 feet. Previously drafted, it included these types of uses, the mobile home parks, under any type of residential use, and a minimum of 600-foot distance was required. Because the city's makeup and land use does allow and have mobile home parks within the industrial areas, which would also be where the non-storefront locations would be allowed, would potentially cause these types of uses to be prevented to be established anywhere in the city. So staff reassessed again and drafted to provide a new distance requirement specifically for mobile home parks, again limiting it down to 300 and providing that option in the industrial areas for these non-storefront retailers. Again, for medical cannabis delivery only and non-storefront, so no customers going into the site. They're basically satellite locations where the products can be stored only for delivery. And so what's being asked of the Commission tonight is to consider a recommendation to the City Council under PC Resolution number 21-24 and for adoption of the new ordinance number 1877.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for staff?
So I'm to understand, instead of 600, it's going to be like 300 is the minimum from this
Correct.
warehouse to a mobile home.
Correct.
All right, the next question I have, how much security is this warehouse providing? Even though it's non-delivery, people will know marijuana is being stored there.
So the ordinance does establish, as previously drafted, the operation procedures and provisions that will be handled through a license with the police department and will be subject to meeting the state's regulations in regards to health and safety. However, so that is being drafted in the ordinance under Title V. Under the Planning Commission's authority, we can only make recommendations on the zoning amendments that are being made, but that is being part of the ordinance and it is being addressed.
So a few years back, we would not allow any. So since then, it went to council, so now we do allow? Or no?
So we don't allow any type, so there was an ordinance passed that does not allow for any type of cannabis uses or businesses that allows for any type of cannabis use, whether it be retail, cultivation, even storage. None of that is permitted within the city. And that continues, however, with the amendment to now allow only for these non-storefront delivery businesses. And basically, again, it's no products that have a storefront, and they're only allowed to deliver for medical cannabis products. So it's very limited still.
This isn't because the council's changed its policy, it's because state law was amended since we put in the total prohibition on cannabis uses, and they said that now every jurisdiction has to allow this type of use.
Understood.
But all the other types of prohibitions that the
Right.
city has in place will
Are
still
still be in place.
continue.
Okay.
It will only allow for this very particular type of a business in the city. In the industrial zones with the distance requirements, now with the modification for mobile home parks.
So I guess we can all go get it medically delivered to us, right? Okay.
So the storefront delivery, does mean at the location, the client gonna come and pick it up, or?
No, there will be no patrons allowed on the location. It's only basically for storage and warehousing of the products, again, for medical deliveries in this area or in the general area. Again, the city doesn't expect a lot of these types of businesses to be located necessarily in Gardena because we do have restrictions on other operations of cannabis use, like retail and those storefronts that you can walk into, where other surrounding jurisdictions do allow for that. But again, as the assistant attorney has stated, state law requires that all the jurisdictions do allow for this particular non-storefront retail.
Okay, does this building, like a lot of these places, they have that green cross, which, are they gonna be displaying anything? And how will the advertisement be? Will they have billboards, or is it something that's over the internet so that people here in Gardena that need the medical marijuana, how are they gonna reach that crowd?
I believe the ordinance does address it, so I'm trying to quickly go back into it and read it. My understanding, I think, is that they don't.
They're not going to be allowed to
Yeah.
have the green cross on the building, nothing that indicates that marijuana is stored on the premises. I'm not really sure how they advertise to the medical community. I don't know if you use the things like, what's it called, Ease, or you see the banners flying over the beach in the summer, and you see their billboards, that provide general delivery services that they wouldn't be using that type of delivery service, but somehow they're going to be allowed to advertise, but advertising is regulated by the state as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because if somebody can pick up their cell phone and say, medical marijuana supplies near me, that could just show up on the cell phone, like on a GPS device.
Given the internet and what shows up, I would assume yes. But I never thought. I would be scared to think of what you could actually Google and find on the internet. But
just to follow up, so in regards to your question on signage and advertisement, the ordinance does address that no advertising of the other companies or brands and goods or services shall be permitted. What's limited is, like any other business, would be a business sign and address.
Are there any other questions, comments?
Okay, so sorry I don't have a slide here for you, but again, what's being asked of the commission tonight is to consider adoption of resolution number PC 21-24, recommending that the city council adopt ordinance number 1877.
Real quick, how long has this been in place by the state?
I think we were supposed to be compliant by July 1st of 2024, so we're a little bit behind, but not bad.
Okay, good, because it's so we're not too far off.
No.
So there hasn't been a influx of CPUs looking for this.
No,
type of
and
something
as
right now.
Amanda said,
Right.
you've got Hawthorne and you've got the city of LA and the unincorporated county. That's going, that allows a much broader range and allows delivery of not just to medicinal patients, but non-medicinal patients. So if you're going to go get a state license and pay for a location, I would assume as a business person, you're going to do it where your customer base is the largest and not restricted to medicinal only. And our neighboring city of Hawthorne actually has a lounge, I saw in the LA
they do.
Times.
They do. All right. Well, we have a motion.
I make a motion that we, for zone tax amendment number 7-20, ordinance number 1877.
No, just.
No, that was the last one.
Just make resolution.
Dude,
For resolution PC number 21 -24, recommending that the city adopt ordinance number 1877.
A second. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Wright-Schur,
Yes.
Commissioner Khan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sherman,
Yes.
and Chair Henderson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
thank you.
Item number 7, Community Development Director's Report, and welcome back.
Let's see, we got several events coming up because the holidays are still coming up upon us, even though we passed Thanksgiving. So the first one is going to be on December 7th. And that's when we have our big Winter Wonderland event out there in front of City Hall. We have a bunch of booths. It's also where the Holiday Boutique will take place at the Nakaoka Community Center. They always have the Santa, and I think he roasts marshmallows and all that good stuff. So December 7th, which is a Saturday, will be the big Winter Wonderland for the city. Also, and then on December 13th, they're having a paint and cocoa night over at the Nakaoka Center. And this might be the first one for this one, as I haven't experienced that one since I've been here. So that might be a new event. And what I don't see up here is, do we have the dates of the Jolly Trolley that they do every year yet? No?
I'm not sure, but I just recalled that the Recreation Department did issue out their local their quarterly pamphlet that includes all of the upcoming events, not just in the next month and the upcoming year. So we'll distribute that to the commission as well.
Yeah,
That
as
shouldn't-
residents, you might have already gotten in the mail that the Recreation Department restarted the booklet that they used to send, and I think it kind of ended around COVID, but there was a great demand for it, and Recreation responded to that, and so now there's a hard copy that gets sent to all the residents, and you can also pick up copies at any one of the city facilities, whether it's here at City Hall or the Nakaoka Center, over at Public Works, wherever you may be. Is that it for our items? So we'll get you the Jolly Trolley dates, because I know that's a big one, where Santa and the PD, they go to each park and visit different areas of the city, and I think you're actually, if you'd like to be on that trolley, just let us know, and then we'll contact Recreation for you. And that's all I have to report.
Sorry, Greg, I did just want to add, I think also the Recreation Department has reached out to see if any of the commissioners would like to be part of I think their annual Martin Luther King Jr. parade happening next year. So we'll send out information as that as well. You can submit an application and be part of the parade. So staff will follow up with that as well.
Thank you. Item number 8, Environmental Commissioners Report.
I have no report. No report.
No report.
And I do have a report. I hate to say it, that I'm glad my sorry team beat that other sorry team across the state, but that's where it is.
Excuse me.
Hey, a loss is a loss. Take the L.
Wait till
No
next
report.
year.
Meeting is adjourned. It is 9:37.